Okay, welcome back to In the Spotlight. This segment continues the discussion about mask mandates from Governor Pritzker and what its effect around the state. Apparently, there's actually some school districts, I think mostly on the private level, that are showing a little bit of courage in standing up to the governor and saying, you know what? We looked around at our community. We looked at what we've already been doing. We looked at our student population and our families, and we decided, you know what, we don't need mask mandates, and we know what's best for our children and how to educate them. So there was we hate to talk about them, but we'll say it, I mean, because that's where we're getting our information from. Daily Herald, 21 school districts on probation now for not complying with his mask mandate. Remember, he already threatened Timothy Christian. In fact, Timothy Christian only said we're going to look into what we're doing. When August 4th, Pritzker comes down, says everybody has to mask public or private in school. He basically imposed legislation that had been halted. He imposed that legislation by executive order. We had a big part in helping stop that. Thank you, Breakthrough Ideas. I'll give us a shout out. But now Timothy Christian backed away immediately because he sent him a letter saying that we're pulling your accreditation. We're going to tell you your students can't participate in IHSA sports. And so they completely flipped and said, we'll be in full compliance again, because this is such an important reminder.
Yes.
Whose kids attend Timothy Christian?
Chris Welch,
the House Speaker, Chris Welch. And so there's no doubt.
Proviso school board president.
Who tanked his when he was school board president, tanked that district financially. They had to go into government oversight, yet you're the Speaker of the House for a 12.8 million people in Illinois.
He was recruited to run for state rep after he tanked that district.
Well,
so that tells you how Madigan scouts his people.
It's ridiculous.
Who's going to owe me?
It's outrageous. Okay, but I mean, so his kids go to Timothy Christian. There's no doubt in my mind that he called the principal and said, you know, I can't have that. I'm the Speaker of the House. I can't have the school that my kids go to not complying with Pritzker's order. I mean, they just flipped so immediately, so suddenly. There was no fight in them when they should have been the best test case to fight. Anyway, moving on, 21 school districts are not fighting them, are not complying with that. And what I find interesting...
And this doesn't, to be clear, they are not going to a court case. They're going on probation, which then means that they have been confirmed that they are not complying with the universal indoor mandate. And these districts, according to an ISB spokeswoman, these districts now have the opportunity to meet with, see how nice that sounds, to meet with ISB and submit a corrective action plan to address the deficiencies that are presenting a danger to students and staff. School districts that do not submit an approvable plan will lose recognition status, meaning a total loss of access to state funding and the ability to participate in IHSA and IESA sports.
Well, what a reverse, because I think ISB got a slap down when they immediately went straight to, you've lost this. We're sending the letter. You're not Timothy Christian. Now they're actually following the process that is in place right now, which means that we send you a warning. We put you on probation. We have a meeting within 30 days. We discuss it, and then you get 60 days to come up with a corrective action, and then we get 30 days to approve it. So it should be about a 120-day process before you get to where they went with Timothy Christian in less than 24 hours. So they're learning their lesson that way.
Right, but it's pretty, it's murky what they would consider an approvable plan.
Of course.
You know, and are you able to edit that plan if it's not approved, or do you just go straight to the loss of state funding? You know, so there's some questions that are left unanswered in the statement.
I think that they understood, though, that they better start complying with their own rules on probation and putting people on probation, because that would have been an immediate lawsuit. It would have been easy as you're not even following your own legal processes that you developed. And so
it would have been a lawsuit for Timothy Christian had they chosen to pursue it.
Yes, had they wanted to pursue it. It is unfortunate. They would have been a terrific test case. But there, heavy-handedness. And by the way, there's a number of a lot of these school districts that are in non-compliance, that are not non-compliance right now, but that are bucking the mask system are counties like Adams, Clay, Clinton, Edwards, Effingham, Franklin, Fulton, Hancock, Henderson, Jefferson, Macon. There's
largely downstate.
Largely downstate.
South of I-80.
But there are two DuPage County private schools that are among the latest to join a surging number of public and private schools in Illinois being slapped with sanctions this week for refusing to comply with J.B. Pritzker's school mask mandate. Bethany Lutheran School in Naperville and Lutheran School of St. Luke in Itasca on Thursday were listed as non-recognized for noncompliance with mask mandate, according to the ISBE. So, and the state board now lists a total of 36 public school districts.
How did the
seven
state handle?
Private
How did
schools.
ISB handle that? Are they taking them through this non-compliance
they said
audit,
that
or are they slapping them down?
I'll have to look into it says in an August 18 letter, Bethany Lutheran School principal Aaron Dunwell, ISB superintendent Carmen Ayala said officials had verified the Naperville private school was not complying with the mask mandate, resulting in ISB removing your school's status as a recognized non-public school.
So they just went right to
effective
the
immediately. So they went right to it.
So all public and private have to comply with the state, but there's different ways to handle the consequences for public versus private schools. What is this?
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea.
I mean, that's BS.
It is total BS. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, we don't have the clip ready, but I think I'm going to get the clip ready for our next segment because I want you guys to hear from the Mount Zion school superintendent at the ISB board meeting that happened on Wednesday. I want you to hear that clip.
Yeah.
This is a reasonable public school superintendent who took the time to go to the ISB meeting that was in Springfield and said his piece. And he was terrific. So we are going to find that clip for you and get right back.
I also want to get your take on this because we've talked to Tom DeVore and several other lawyers who say the mandate is not law. It's not a law. It's not enforceable by law. It's a mandate. It's guidelines. But in a letter to superintendents, Dr. Carmen Ayala, head of ISB, writes, the executive order has the force of law. Noncompliance is not an option. I will not compromise the health and safety of students or staff, nor will I risk even one child's life. So what doesn't ISB know? Like, what do they not get?
She doesn't want to risk one child's life. Then don't let anybody under the age of 18 drive.
Right. No, right.
The hell's wrong with her?
10 times more likely to be killed in a car accident
exactly
under the age
than
of 18
COVID.
Than COVID, at least. No, yes, I agree, but it's not law, so it has the force of law.
Well, that's what she's saying, but it hasn't been tested in the courts. It needs to be tested in the courts.
So this is a threat, and that's pretty serious threatening
yes, and
language.
we need some brave school districts to sue her over this because I think they're wrong. Tom DeVore, who is a lawyer and has looked into this extensively, thinks they're wrong, and specifically they're wrong on the aspect of because the genesis of they're saying that they can shut down your school if for noncompliance is because you are violating a health standard.
Right.
But Tom DeVore, in a Facebook post, goes through chapter and verse on the health standards you can shut them down for.
Right.
And this is not one of them.
Right.
Not complying with the mask mandate for flu is not even close to one of the health standards that you can for noncompliance. It's like you have, your food service is not adequate. You don't have adequate heat or ventilation.
It's like
actual health concerns. Like there's no heat in the building and it's 20 degrees.
That's
it's things like that. It's like you're not. The actual health is threatened.
Right.
Or you've got a leaking roof or there's mold or whatever.
Yeah.
This situation is not covered as part of health. Or you have no fire alarms, for example. That would be a health risk.
Yes.
That would be a safety risk.
Yes.
And this is not one of them. So they have no basis to even put this out, and they need. But again,
they're counting on their ability as the state, the big scary state, to threaten and scare and kind of cow people into compliance. Is my take on this.
Right.
We're using the most threatening language we possibly can here, even though it's untested.
Yep. Okay, we'll be right back with you because we're going to pull that clip from the Mount Zion School Superintendent, Dr. Roundcount. And I was so impressed with his testimony, Kathleen. I rarely do this. I should probably do it more often. But I immediately emailed his school and said, thank you so much for speaking up. Okay, we'll be right back with that. Thanks.